Alright, what's up, guys? So, basically, today I am talking about my paranormal experience in this house. Um, the reason why this video is live is because if I were to record a video and for however long it would be, it would take forever to upload and with all that crap, so I'd rather just go live and let YouTube process it from that way. So this is non-scripted and stuff. It's just me talking straight up. So yeah, I'm not doing this because I know nobody's gonna watch this video because I have no subscribers. This video is intended for people to come across this video. It's just easier to record this way instead of having to process all that. So anyways, this is just gonna be a long video of me talking about my paranormal experience here and just to share with you guys. So yeah, before we get into it though, this video may be pretty long, so I'm just warning you now. So I'm just gonna be talking all the time. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, I have grown up in paranormal places before. Not grown up in paranormal places, but haunted places. That can be for another video. But basically, just talking about this house specifically and how I have proof that it really is like, haunted or whatever. So basically, we've been in this house since October of 2018, and as of recording this, it's March 2nd, 2019. So yeah, we moved here. I'm not gonna explain all if you ask how we got here, whatever. But we moved here. Pretty cool place. It's local. It's near France or whatever. And so when we first got here, there was nothing out of the ordinary, whatever. So the first time that I officially experienced anything was one day I was taking a bath like midday, kind of like right now, and I was just by myself, and I heard like right over here where I'm looking is the living room area, and I heard like footsteps, like boop boop boop, like someone walking, and I just made a jokingly comment out loud. I was like, oh, if there's something there, I was like, I'm in the bathtub, you might not want to come in here, just as a joke. And I didn't know if it was necessarily footsteps because I didn't ever experience anything here before, and not too far from here into the woods is a highway, so I didn't know if it was vibration from cars, whatever. So that was that. So then that day, I went to a friend's house and stayed with him. Well, the next day I got back, my mom straight up told me, she's like, you need to quit watching paranormal videos and stuff on YouTube, because I'm really into that stuff. Also, shout out to Paranormal Files. I watch them all the time, and that's who she was specifically talking about. Because, so when she said that, I was like, what does it matter? I was like, that I watch that kind of stuff. She's like, well, I don't know if that's bringing activity here or what, but she's like, I heard footsteps too while you were gone. And I said, what? And I mean, see, that's the weird thing is I was gone, and she even heard it herself. Like, every time people's been here by themselves, they'll still hear it. Like, with nobody being in the house except for yourself. So, I was like, that's creepy, that's weird. So, another time, it was during midday again, like this. And this is probably the most creepiest part, I would say, maybe. Probably the most, like, closest I ever got to really experiencing it is, there's a bedroom back here, and the bed used to be right at the doorway. And my mother was laying on the couch, like taking a nap or whatever. And I heard a couple of thuds, like boop, 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 like just something walking. So, I just hollered at her. I said, hey, did you just get up? She said, no. I said, okay. Well, in that room, there's carpet. Not even 10 seconds after saying that, I heard, shoo, shoo, shoo. You know the sound like if someone's wearing socks and they drag their feet across the carpet and it makes that sliding noise? That's what I heard right beside me with nobody there. My mom was on the couch, and I jumped out. I said, what the hell was that? So I heard the footsteps in this living room, and then it walked right beside me. It's like it was dragging its feet walking beside me. It was absolutely insane. Like, I wished I could have got it on video, but with experiencing the sounds here, it's so subtle. Look, I hope I'm saying it right. So subtle, or like so like quiet that you can't really pick it up. It's really like you got to hear it in person. Um, so that happened, and I don't hear the footsteps as much anymore. It's really random. It's not like, oh, make a noise. And it just happens randomly. Like, it doesn't have to be a specific time or anything. It just happens randomly. And you might be like, oh, I hear it. Like, it just happens at random times. And so the most I ever experienced it in a night was, I mean, I don't remember what night, but I remember it was the most active, and it was insane. Absolutely insane. I deleted the video because I didn't have enough space on my phone, but I did have a video of me recording like live as it was happening and me experiencing it. It was so creepy. So I was in that room, and it was all, cool during the night, and we didn't have no fans on or nothing. And about 1 a.m. I started hearing it like boom, 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 and like, I don't even have to, make the sound for you. You know how it sounds like someone walking on like a hardwood floor. That's what it sounds like. It sounds just like someone wearing like boots and just walking on a floor like nonchalant, just walking. No, like not extreme, not quiet. It's just normal, just walking. And so I started hearing it at 1 a.m. and I started hearing it do 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 like constantly. I was like, oh my god, like I hear it. And what makes it more authentic too is it's not just the sounds. You can actually, what makes it so creepy is you can actually feel the vibration as the sounds are happening. So it's not just the sound, like you can actually, every time you hear the sound, you feel the vibration with it, like everything, the energy with it. And that night though, I just won't ever forget it because it constantly done it. Like it literally sounds like somebody that is just in here like they dropped something and they're walking around looking for it. It's like it never really got close. It just kind of stayed in the same area. And it was weird. Um, and I remember I couldn't sleep that night. And I stayed up till probably like 6 in the morning, and it done it on and off that night. And when I experienced that though, and how active it was, I started thinking, maybe it's not legit because with paranormal, it's like spontaneous. Why would it be happening so fluent that night? So I started thinking maybe it was the house. But I was thinking all the other experiences I've had too. I was like, it does not match up. I was like, I think that's something. Um, so then the interesting thing is the neighbor is actually the son of the owner of this house that we're renting them from. And I was actually shocked because usually if you would ask a homeowner about a place being haunted or something, they're not going to tell you, oh yeah, it's haunted or something. Because if you do that, they think maybe the tenants will move out and then that's not money I'm making. But that wasn't the case. We actually asked him straight up. What's interesting too is his friend that comes over there a lot actually stayed here too. We'll get into more about the homeowner thing. But we asked the friend, we said, since you lived here, did you ever experience anything? And he goes, oh, here's the footsteps? And we're like, yeah. He's like, I experience that all the time. And he said, like, he dealt with that all the time. And it's not just us, we're not crazy, it's real. So, we asked them since they know more about this place, like, this is not the original location this place used to sit. So we asked them like, someone die here and stuff. Come to find out, on this land, maybe 20, 30 years ago, it hasn't, it's not recent, but I mean, it happened a couple years back or whatever. I don't know the exact time frame, but where this land is sitting, there's only two other trailers besides this one, and behind the house is straight woods and then that highway. Um, but since woods used to actually be right here too, where the house is sitting, the KKK actually used to hang African Americans on this land. Like it's true. Like it's 100% true because the sad thing is, not far down the road is an ex um, wizard or something. I don't know anything about the KKK, but something about a grand wizard or something. And they know about the ties with this land, and this land has history. So Come to find out, most likely what we're experiencing is an African American that was tragically killed here. Um, and you can tell it's not like more than one, it's always the same one. And it just always just walks around. So that's the information I got. All right, this is the part about the homeowners. So my mom got more intrigued by it. Not intrigued, but curious. And she asked, she was like, we found out that, the other current, previous tenants, not current, but previous tenants experienced stuff. They're like, do you know anything about it? And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, I know the place is haunted. And, it's just, like I said, it's shocking to hear a homeowner be straight up about it, because usually they would lie to not tell the truth. But no, they were straight up like, yeah. They're like, I know this place is haunted. And the front door is not the original front door. It used to be one of those front doors that had the little knock on it, the little metal flap. And they actually said when they used to live here at one time, it would actually knock at night and nobody would be there. And then they'd go lay back down and it would knock again. And it's always the same thing. Like, it's always just the weird occurrences. That's the only thing I've experienced here. And it's pretty weird. It's pretty odd, creepy, kind of. But what's just more crazy and compelling is not only did we experience it, but the people that have lived here and stuff too have experienced it and straight up told us, yeah, this place is haunted. And it's crazy, like we have proof of it. And I doubt this video would get any kind of views or any recognition, but if it did, and people really want to follow up with this story, I can make a video talking to the homeowners and stuff just to prove to you like it's a legit story. That's if you've watched all the way through the video. So the last part of why I'm even making this video is I had a dream last night that will kind of, I guess, make this video more interesting. This is really what made me create the video. Is I've heard about people saying that you can interact with the paranormal through dreams and stuff. Dreams have significance. I believe in the paranormal 100%, obviously. I'm very spiritual. I don't necessarily know if dreams really have messages, but if they do, then I had a really interesting dream last night, and I thought I should add it to this just in case maybe it had significance. I don't know. But I find it weird that this happened. It doesn't feel like a coincidence. So I had a dream last night. I'm not going to say the spirit's name because I don't want to calling him out or something like that and stuff like that. But anyway, so I had a dream last night of his name, and it felt real. Like, my dreams always feel real. Well, I actually was dreaming that I was talking to him. And I feel like if dreams do have significance, that's the way I was contacting him, was through my dreams last night. Because it felt so authentic and real. So it's going to sound a little crazy, but I even made a post on Reddit talking about this because I want to get some feedback. I haven't read the post yet, but I've actually reached out and asking people if it could have significance. I don't know if it does, but this is what happened. So in my dream, I was talking to him. I was fully aware who it was because in real life, this is who it is. And now I was dreaming of him. And I like to say him. Now, I may be wrong. It may not be a him, but from what everyone's experienced, it feels like it's a male presence, especially with the boot sounds and stuff. So I was dreaming and I was contacting him. And how I was contacting him, I had like a cell phone, but I wasn't using it, but it was connected to a balloon. Hear me out. So the balloon was connected to the phone. And I said, this is how you can make contact. I said, if your answer is no, push the balloon down. And if your answer is yes, make the balloon float back up. And throughout the whole thing, he was dead on, talking to me the whole time, answering my questions, straight up, was cool with it. And it was cool because in the dream I was like, I'm talking to him, and I could even you could feel him touch you and stuff like that too. But he was very interactive. He'll talk to you or whatever. So I just feel like if he really did contact me through a dream and this is legitimate, it's pretty crazy of what stuff I asked him. So I asked him all kinds of questions. I was like, so obviously, since something's making this balloon move, how I'm wanting it to contact, I'm like, is that you that always makes noises and stuff? And he just straight up was like, yeah, it's me and stuff like that. And I've asked him questions like, do you like me? And he said yes. Like, and basically the vibe I was getting from him and the questions I was asking, he's not a bad person. I'm getting cold chills talking about this. It's weird. He's not a bad person. He likes us and everything. He's not a bad person. He's just here. I don't know why. But what made me really feel kind of confused on why I'm talking about this, because if I wouldn't have got to this part in the dream, then I wouldn't even be talking about it. But I thought it should be noted because it's kind of odd. So this is creepy. So I asked him, I said, since you're a spirit and all, I said, is heaven and hell real? And the balloon and just the vibe, it's like it wasn't there. And I was like, you know, you were answering like all the other questions I asked. I can't remember all of them, but every single just random question I was asking, he was answering yes or no, maybe, whatever. Like he was talking to me the whole time. But when I asked him, I said, is heaven and hell real? The balloon would not move. And you got the vibe of like, don't be asking me those kind of questions. And it would not move whatsoever. So I was like, that's kind of strange. So then I probably shouldn't have, but just to get more into it, I said, well, I was like, if you won't answer that, then can you tell me if you're in heaven or hell, like whatever? And it would not nudge. And I just think it's so odd that like I asked all those questions, it was all cool answering everything, but when I asked those specific questions, they would not move whatsoever. It was like, and I was just talking to my mom about it today, and asking those questions, the vibe was like not malicious, but it was like, don't be asking me those kind of questions seriously. Like that's the vibe I got. It was like, do not ask me those kind of questions. So I don't know. That's basically all the information I got with all this video. This is all I wanted to talk about, but I just really thought it was notable because it's weird how I asked all those questions and they were answered, but then when I asked about heaven and hell and stuff like that, it wouldn't say nothing. Um, Now coming up with my own, excuse my baldness, but coming up with my own theory, if that was a legit contact, why he wouldn't answer those kind of questions, just from my own perspective, just trying to think why wouldn't he answer those questions? Probably because maybe, you know, he just can't answer that kind of stuff because it's just not his place. And maybe it's one of those things you have to die to find out for yourself. And it's against universal law or something where it's not okay to be able to tell me the answers to everything because that's maybe the part of life is figuring out yourself. So it wasn't going to go into that. Maybe it just wasn't his place to tell me. Um, but another thing that makes me think is, see, I believe when you die, there is like a heaven and hell, but it's not how it's described in Christianity and the books and stuff like that. And trust me, I mean, I do have ties to Christianity. I mean, I got a biblical quote, but I don't believe every single little bit in the Bible. I think there's things that are fundamental, but I don't think everything is like how it's really going to be or how things are supposed to set up to be. But basically, what I believe is that when you die, this is just one of my theories, is that when you die, you either, go to like a lower realm, and lower realm is like what's considered hell, and the higher realms are more happiness and love. And but when you die, I feel like you don't necessarily go there specifically. You can be stuck here like earthbound. I feel like when you die, you can be earthbound and then move into like the spiritual world. So I feel like if that was me really talking to the spirit, the reason why he wouldn't answer if heaven and hell exist is because he hasn't fully moved on yet. And I mean, it makes perfect sense to me because obviously, a lot of times when spirits interact with you in the everyday life, it's because they're earthbound. They haven't fully moved on because they did, you wouldn't interact with them. So I feel like he hasn't fully moved on because obviously, him making his presence known, something's got him to where he's still attached here. So that's why he wouldn't answer the question about heaven or hell because he's earthbound. He's trying to stay here. So he can't answer that question because he hasn't fully moved on to know if that exists. And that's what I really believe. I mean, it makes sense. Like me talking about it, it kind of unveils itself that could be the possibility. Um, because a lot of people say with spirits they're earthbound, they had unfinished business. So of course, if he's still here and interacting and being an earthbound spirit, of course he's not going to know about heaven and hell because he hasn't fully moved on into the light to know if there is. Because I feel like that's what a lot of earthbound spirits do. They stick around because they're scared to fully move on because they don't know what's going to happen. And especially maybe if it's set up in the way of the Bible that if you do pass on, you will be put into a certain place, and maybe the spirit himself is afraid of knowing he doesn't know where he's going to end up. So he's not going to answer the heaven and hell question because he hasn't fully moved on to know what he's going to be deemed to go to. So that's why he wouldn't answer it. And I don't know. I feel like me making this, talking about it, it really starts to make sense because people talk about, they call it purgatory and talking about like being earthbound. So I guess that's my hypothesis or hypotheses, whatever you want to say, is that if I did talk to him in the dream and he wouldn't answer those questions, trying to make sense of it, is because obviously, like I said, him making noise and stuff, he's still earthbound, and you know he doesn't have those answers because he hasn't even fully moved on himself. Like I think people think just because there's a spirit that they know everything. No, they're just in a different, I would say, a different state of consciousness, just not physical anymore, but it still doesn't mean you're going to know the answers. I mean, we don't even know when we die if there is something that will still have the answers. Death could be the next step. Like it doesn't, I don't understand how the concept is that right when you die, like, oh, you know the answers. Like, so I don't know. So if you just watched 23-minute video of me talking about this, I appreciate it. That was my paranormal experience and just wanted to share with you guys. If people watch this and enjoy it, thank you. And it's just my little story I wanted to share. And if you stuck all the way through, I appreciate you. Click subscribe if you want to.